Sorry about it. I was just rushing here. Okay. This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us Eric Basir, Union Steward at the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 308. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Eric, you have been telling us about abuses of CTA employees. Uh, what's happening now? Is there are there uh, new abuses, different things that we haven't talked about before?
Yeah, it's a daily thing, and two things in particular I think are very relevant to the time, and we are looking at number one, the funding has been secured for the Chicago Transit Authority, PACE, Metro, Paratransit, and this is due to the diligence, sacrifice, financial and otherwise, of CTA workers and CTA riders. The Chicago Transit Authority did not pay any of us, our unions or the riders, to lobby for them for the funding that they need to be taken back from that fiscal cliff that basically was created by their mismanagement, deferred maintenance, union busting, um, lack of respect for the ADA, the American with Disabilities Act, ensuring that all the stations are accessible. Um, the day that funding was secured, October 31st, the same day the CTA sent out letters of layoff to workers who do 40 hours a week, hard, no benefits, no night premium, and they said, "We're gonna congratulations, you've completed the second chance program, and be ready. Your last day is gonna be, I think some got it in for January something, or I forgot the exact date, but." Here you have these holidays coming up. You got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, New Year's Eve, and your union dues as a CTA worker paid for the CTA to secure to get funding, and then they give you a letter saying you're being laid off. Goodbye. Thank you. Now, we know that these trains are filthy, and these workers and the stations and the buses, right? And these workers known as second chance workers, so-called apprentices, got layoff notices on the same day that the CTA got funding.
Do you know
This,
why?
yeah,
Why that day?
yeah, that's what I'm. Why that day? Great question. I think I think it's just the nature of the beast of the CTA mismanagement is at best they're sloppy and rude. At worst, they're cruel. You know, you're sloppy and rude to send a layoff notice the day you're going to get funding where you said you're going to lay us all off, or not all, but whatever. It's just it's abusive.
What
You know,
about years prior? Let's say last year, around this time, there had to be another set of second chance employees that their time is up. So did they get layoff notices around this time too?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Merry Christmas. You're out of a job. Thanks for your help.
How
I
long
mean,
are they were they employed? How many years? 1 year?
uh, some were years, Many were 2 years,
Mhm.
3 years, some 4. They bounce them between the bus side and the rail side. So they'll do a year on the rail, they'll do a year on the bus, and they'll be feeding them lies. Oh, you might get turned over to full time, whatever. Here, apply for these jobs, apply, and they apply for the jobs. Here, look, you'll have these second chancers that are on the rail side, let's say. They're up in the platform cleaning trains. Riders will say, "Hey, does this train go downtown? How do I get to such and such street?" And they answer them and they give them information. They give them directions. They say, "This bus goes here, this train goes there." These same people apply for customer service assistant. This is another part-time job at the CTA. But what makes it better than the second chance is once you're in, uh, they, they don't just dump you. You could be in it for as long as you want, as long as you follow the rules, and you can apply for other jobs while you're there. Second chance is pretty much 12 months and you're done, or we'll keep you around and drag you around and keep up your hopes. So these a lot of these workers who've been helping riders while they clean the trains won't don't get hired. They say, "Well, you didn't pass the test. You didn't pass the assessment." What's the assessment test? The assessment test that they have has virtually nothing to do with the job. It's just a psychological game. What would you do if this happened? And what is purple in a square circle? And whatever. I'm just making it up. I'm hypothetical, but these are stupid tests because you have people who can't do tests for whatever reason. They either it's because they may have dyslexia or maybe there's some other issues going on, but they can clean a train. They can help a rider with directions. Just give them the damn job.
So they're hypothetically they're 12 months, but if a CTA wants to keep them longer, they could keep them up to 3 years.
And there's no limit.
Oh.
I've known some 4 years
Mm.
and get laid off. And they
Mm.
don't bring them back. You're gone. You might get maybe later on, years later, you get a job, but a lot of the people are they just quit. They're not quit, but they're like, I don't want to ever work for them again.
What about while they're being second chancers, are they're not allowed to apply for CTA jobs, are they? Other
Oh
CTA
yes,
jobs?
they're allowed. They're allowed, but I want you to understand they're discriminated against.
They're not rarely if ever are they hired for other jobs, right?
No. So some are turned over to the full-time rail car servicer or bus servicer or full-time janitor. And some are turned over into other jobs like customer service assistant, but most of them don't make it. They're a lot of them quit, they're fired, or they get laid off. And a lot of times the ones that are fired, they're fired because of absenteeism. So they call off sick. They all work. Most of them work midnight shift. So sometimes they might doze off and fall asleep. And if you do that, the way the CTA has the rules, you're immediately fired if you fall asleep and you're caught. But me and my coworkers, the other coworkers, we could fall asleep 3 times in a year and then we get fired. It's not once. You got to get 3 of these violations. Um, yeah, it's just not fair. They're judged by different criteria, and I do have a class action grievance in about that disparate treatment, but that's with an arbitrator, and who knows how many years that's going to take.
Mm.
I did have another story for you
Mm.
about working conditions and cruelty, and it's right on time for the holidays. So depending on when people are listening to this, the CTA has what's called the holiday bus and the holiday train. Y'all may have seen it. It's nice. It's pretty. It smells nice. It's on time. It's safe. And you notice there's more than one operator. There's more than one CTA employee on that train. You notice that. Um, well, there's people on the trains called elves. And these elves are CTA workers. Some of them are train operators. Some of them are customer assistants, janitors, car servicers, whatever. Different employees that are going to get a break from the daily grind of the regular job. And instead of doing their regular job for 8 hours a day, they get to be an elf for 8 hours a day. And they put on a costume and they welcome the riders. And again, what is it? The riders are like, I just love the Christmas train. Why? It's because there's multiple CTA employees there, not just one. Let that be a lesson about these about about this thing. Um, but these elves, did you know these elves have to work 6 days? They only get one day off. Why? This is cold blooded. I mean, you're gonna say, hey, you could be an elf, you be Santa's elf on the CTA train, but you're only gonna get one day off.
But with the regular duties, do they also work 6 days a week?
No,
Oh.
unless they choose to for overtime voluntarily.
So
But
when
this
they're
is
elves, do they
forced.
get the overtime?
I'm sorry, say that again.
When they're elves, do they get the overtime?
Yeah, oh, they get it, but they're forced. You're gonna do 6 days. It's not like, hey, you've been working for 5 days, elf. Could you give us one more extra day? We need to do something. No, it's like if you want to do this, you're gonna work 6 days.
Mm.
That's something people don't know about. That's cruel. To me, that's cruel because the rest of us have 2 days off. But you're gonna tell people who want to try do something different, they want to reach out and hang out with the riders, have fun, pass out candy. It's a different vibe, right? It's nice to be able to do something different from the same old routine day after day. But the CTA is exploiting these sincere people by making them have one less off day and forcing them to do overtime.
So are they violating, is the CTA violating the union contract then?
Interestingly, there is nothing in the contract about being an elf.
Mm. But what
Yeah.
about being forced to work 6 days a week?
Yeah, there's plenty of different things in the contract about rest and your work days depending on your job description and whatnot. It's there, it exists. But there's nothing for actor, there's nothing for elf. There's nothing because you do need to put that in there if you want, but it's not there.
Mm.
But this is what they're getting away with. And some of my coworkers who do it, they're like, "Hey man, it's fun. It's no problem." And that's fine, but I want the writers to understand that these elves are forced to work overtime. You just think about that. Santa's elves forced overtime. It just sounds like a nightmare of cruelty,
I
in
totally,
my opinion.
I totally understand because I'm full-time too at my job, and then I work for 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, and then usually when I'm working, I don't get enough sleep. So I do need those 2 days to rest up in order for me to function better for the rest of the week while I am working.
You got to catch up,
Mm.
and that day off, that second day, having that 2 days off. Really, it's best to have 3 days off, work 4 days, and have 3 days because people are more energized. They get more done. They feel more fulfilled.
Mm.
But that's another story for another time. But that one extra day that you lose, that's your day to catch up. So when you go to work, you're like, okay, I can handle it now. But now you only get one day. I don't like that.
So do any of the elves complain to you about about this and how it's affecting their lives?
Yes,
What do they say?
but well, it's not. They say, yeah, it's just the way it is. It's kind of they know it's not right, but they're just accepting it because again, they're getting a chance to get paid
Mhm.
the same rate for similar hours, but doing something different and it's laid back. You know what I mean? They just need a break.
Mhm.
So
Plus it's overtime, right? Anything over 40 hours a week,
yeah,
that's time and a half.
yes, if they're full-time. So any of the elves that are part-time employees that are not full-time permanent.
Mhm.
So, but most of them are full-time. Most of the elves that I seen and talked to, yeah, they're full-time.
Is there any rhyme and reason on about who is selected to be an elf?
Yeah, no, I don't think they would let me be an elf.
Okay.
No, there's not it's the management at the CTA. They kind of just do whatever they want, and a lot of the union officials, with the exception of me and a few others, don't let them just get away with everything. But yeah, it's really sad. There's no setup, by seniority. It's like they like you, you will be this or you will be that. They decide your job as an elf because each elf has a different function there. Like everybody's an elf basically, but the management decides.
What about paid sick leave? I hear that that's required in Illinois, but the CTA workers, they don't get it unless they're management, right?
That's right. That's right. We
Uh,
do have some who are union, but they're very small groups of workers, and they're the exception. They're a minority. Um, but almost every CTA worker you run into has no paid sick leave. And
how
and that is city law and county law too, by the way.
and they're able to get away with it? Why? Do you know?
Well, unfortunately, um, our union presidents have signed what's called a waiver without telling us. And they put it in our last contract uh, and had us vote on it based on summaries. And the summaries did not have the paid sick leave waivers.
Mhm.
So
Well,
it was done in secret.
well, then that's if it's done if the employees did not know what they were agreeing to, then that there should be some enforcement because there was a deception.
Yes, yes. It's really bad.
Mm.
Yeah, it's treason. It's a betrayal.
Are there any, well, I know that you're fighting against it, but what could be done? Are there any lawsuits, any way to fight back to get that paid sick leave?
I, I'm sure there is. But as far as lawsuits, I have not um I have not gotten involved with that. I don't know of any lawsuits about that.
Mm.
Um, it's just I guess what I have to do as a union official is we have a constitution, right? And our constitution and our union says when there are problems of corruption, we must put those officials on notice and have a hearing internally as a union. So, frankly, Trudy, they have done so many horrible things to us. I can't keep up personally as an individual. So, um, the best thing I'm doing right now regarding that is I'm running for president of our union,
Mm.
um, so that I can help fight to get that back or to get that right. Because it is just for the contract. I mean, it's like once the contract's expired, then we can say, okay, no, you need to give this to us now. Um, and not having the paid sick leave is causing delays. It is causing missed ghost buses, ghost trains. The riders are dealing with workers who are carrying viruses to work. and maybe operating a vehicle or cleaning or repairing a vehicle while they are sick. And that's not safe. That's not safe at all.
So they had a waiver in this contract. What about the last contract? Was there a waiver in that contract, or did
Um, yes, actually, they snuck that in then too. That was when we didn't have a state law. All we had was municipal city of Chicago law, which was a different number. Now it was changed. Mayor Johnson actually, his administration actually really made it perfect for us so that the best paid sick leave for workers in the city of Chicago is actually the city of Chicago Ordinance 6-130. That's actually the best one for everybody.
Hmm. But then, what's the enforcement? Because they could, of course, do the ordinance, but if, let's say, an employer, CTA or otherwise, if they violate that ordinance, then what happens?
So if the way that this ordinance is written, when I last went over it, it actually says that the paid sick leave ordinance cannot be uh, inferior. I'm sorry, it cannot be, how can I say, it cannot be something that the employer just signs away. It has to be as good as what they're offering their employees. So, what the CTA lawyers and our union presidents did was in the waiver, they said the CTA offers enhanced paid sick leave benefits. So it used language that made it legal to do what they did. So because they say it and they put it in the waiver, and then the presidents of the unions signed it, they made something unlawful lawful. And now the workers, the union members, those CTA workers have to accept it, and they cannot sue saying that the benefits are inferior. Because when our union reps sign stuff, they're signing it on our behalf. So it is as if I went and, yeah, okay, boss, you can waive my paid sick leave. You know what I mean? So that's basically what they did, and that's not right.
So, in other words, CTA worded it so that they had enhanced the pay sick leave that was better than what Chicago had. However, they in the waiver, the workers sign away that enhanced the pay sick leave.
They 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 signed away the the real sick leave for the quote enhanced sick leave.
Oh. And what's the enhanced, if I may ask?
The enhanced sick leave is technically and more accurately short-term disability.
Mm.
So, what happens when I'm a CTA employee, I get sick, and it has nothing to do with home. I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with work, or I get injured at home and has nothing to do with work, but I can't work because I'm so sick or I'm so injured. Can they just fire me? And can I get no money? No. The CTA will give you short-term disability. It's called they call it also 7-day sick pay. not sick leave. They call it 7 day sick pay in the contract. Management gets it too, by the way. So if I'm out more than 7 days plus 2 off days, so make it 9. And the doctor's like, yo, man, you broke your leg. You're gonna have to heal. You fell off that ladder in the house. I got to go through all the procedures to tell the employer I can't come to work. Please pay me 1 week of full pay, and then every week thereafter, I get about $200 a week for this benefit that they call sick leave, but it is not. Then when I'm done and I'm healed and I come back to work, they write me up for a sick entry in short-term disability. Now I'm back at work. I work a month. I catch a virus. I have a fever and chills. I can't get out of bed, but I'm okay in 3 days. I come back. No pay though. I don't get any sick pay for that because it's only 3 days. So I lose 3 days of pay. I come back and they write me up. That's your second entry for your write up, Mr. Eric. And according to our corrective action guidelines, you have been given a written warning. And if you get 3 more written warnings for being sick, we're going to fire you.
Number three, just one more extra ones and an extra one, and then you're fired.
Well, each entry is tricky because for each write up, there's 4 that a CTA worker could get in 1 year before they're fired. Each one has 2. So
Oh,
1, 2, first step. 3, 4, second step, which is a 1 day suspension. So you can imagine, the stress you go through. I'm just gonna go to work. Forget this. Hey, you just trying to. I could feel the confusion coming from you as I described this to you. I had to pull out this stupid book just to make sure I said it right.
for CTA workers that are trying to understand what rights they have or what rights they don't have.
Right. It's a benefit, but it's a short-term disability benefit. That's why the management has short-term disability and paid sick leave. And that's why I'm saying we should have and unfortunately, the poor CTA workers are being told by management and union officials who don't have their interests at heart are telling them, well, okay, but if you get paid sick leave, you're going to have to give up that short-term disability. Now, the slang for it in the CTA vernacular is sick book. And it's literally a book with names in it of people who are off work in the sick book. All right. And listen to this. This is so horrible. Now, in the maintenance side, it's just a matter of a phone call. Boss, I can't come to work. I'm sick. Okay, I'll put you down as a sick entry. Boom. Okay.
Sick book, right?
No, that's not. It's like a sick book. It is. Yeah, let's say that. Let's say that for me because I'm in maintenance, right? I repair the trains or clean the trains, whatever, or clean the stations, clean the buses. So I call in. They say we got you down. I call them back. Hey, I'm feeling better. Next day or 2 days. Excuse me. I'm coming back. They say, okay, we'll put you down. You're gonna be back for your shift tomorrow. Yep, yep, okay. The operators, the customer assistants, those in the operations side, they can call and say, "Hey, I can't come in. I'm sick today." They say, "Okay, you're sick." They put you in the sick book. But you can't call in and say, I'm ready to come back. You have to go in person to the terminal or the garage where you work, and you have to sign out of the sick book with your name. So I may just need one day off. Maybe I didn't sleep. I could have been up all night with a sick child, a spouse, a relative, whatever. And you know what? I just can't make it. I had a bad day. I didn't get any sleep. I'm sick. Okay. I got to go back in that same day in order to come to work the next day.
Okay.
Why make people do all that, you
So
know?
they have to sign the book to get go back to work, or do they have to sign the book to uh, uh, notify them that they're sick?
No, no. Yeah. So you, the sick worker who's not sick anymore, you have to go to work and
Mhm.
sign out. You don't have to go to work to sign in,
Mhm.
right? You've that's again if it has nothing to do with work. Now, if you're injured, that's different. That's injured on duty, workman's comp. That's kind of a different realm, but it's still a burden. They still make it hard for you, you know.
And why is it like that? Do some workers they're not able to? Would could they just could they go to work earlier and sign out, or how does this work?
No, no, no. You gotta. Hmm, I'm glad you brought that up. You call off sick Tuesday.
Yes.
I can't come in today. I'm sick. Wednesday, you call up. Hey, I'm feeling better. Can I come back to work? You're gonna have to come in before. I forgot the time. Was it 3 p.m.? I forgot. But you got to come in before a certain time in order to go to work the next day.
Mm.
If you don't, you'll still be signed out, but you won't be able to get until the next day.
Mhm.
But if you had paid sick leave as per Municipal Code 6-130, you would accumulate all this stuff, all these days, all these hours. And you'd say, how many hours I got? You got whatever. You got 3 days worth. You got 24 hours worth. Okay, I need to do 16. I need to do 8. No write up. They can't write you up and they can't stop you. They can't deny you. But at the CTA, they can. Check this out. Here's another one to twist. I got your brain in a pretzel now. Watch this. I have some paid holidays that I haven't used. These are basically personal days. For example, Martin Luther King Jr. Us full timers, we all get that as a holiday. But we're not off work. We just have it. It's just like 8 hours to use. I call off sick and I say, you know what? I want to use my holiday. Manager could say no. We have a we have a staffing shortage. You have to come to work or I'm going to write you up. But I've got the 8 hour holiday that I could use. I have a random vacation day that I can use.
And are you required to use it by the end of the year or your anniversary date?
Yeah, they do have, there is at the CTA, you have to use these things by a certain date, yes. And when it gets to the end of the year, like around November, late November, you got to use these things up or you lose them.
Mm.
I haven't heard any cases of them denying people to use them because they're about to lose them. Um, but they certainly, I wouldn't put them past it. I wouldn't put it past them to do that. But I haven't heard of that. But once we're past that time, and now I'm accumulating, I'm in the new calendar year to get my holidays. That's when they're like, yeah, we can't give it to you. You have to come to work. That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, do you have to get it in by a certain time, like maybe 2 weeks in advance? Be-
Yeah, yeah, they have their rules. They say no more than 30 days or 72 hours. They have different rules. Don't quote me exactly. It's so hard for me to remember this stuff off the top of my head, but they can give it to you an hour before you're supposed to come into work, 30 minutes, but they make up rules that say, no, you have to do it. But how do you know? You suddenly fall ill on your way to work. What are you going to do? Your child, the principal calls from school to say your child is sick, come and pick them up. Your day's gone.
and you get written up too.
Yes, yes. But some aren't.
Hmm.
Um, I've had cases where I've said, look, I just can't make it today. And the manager's like, okay, do you want to use your holiday? I said, nope, nope. I can't make it. Not feeling well. And I don't get paid for that day. But that's pretty much like punishment anyways, because I'm not getting any money. But that's up to the manager, right? I mean, it doesn't matter really. Um, there's no, it's just up to them. And that's not fair, right? Why are you going to do that for me, but not the next guy? Or you're going to do it for the next guy, but not for me? What? You know,
And then are they violating any rules, any legislation or the contract? And even if they do, what repercussions are there if they violate the
you
contract?
know, in areas like that, there's nothing specific.
Mm.
However, in areas like that, I always refer to the first article in our contract, and it says the CTA must provide the best possible working conditions for the employees. So, yeah, how can I be in a best working condition when I have to come to work sick and I have to spread it to my coworkers? So, I'm always fighting for these kinds of things, and it upsets people because they say, well, you're not going to win it. And I say, well, maybe not, but it's certainly wrong that they are punishing us for getting sick.
Mhm. Oh,
And one other thing I want to add about paid sick leave, as per the city of Chicago, state of Illinois, Cook County, you can't just get paid sick leave. It just doesn't happen to you. You actually have to work. You have to show up to work. And so it depends on which law you're looking at, but you have to put in so many hours of work to get so many hours of paid sick leave. It's that simple.
okay.
So you're actually rewarding people for coming to work. I've been mocked and they say, well, Eric Basir, he wants the CTA to pay people not to come to work. I mean, okay. Well, tell that to the managers then. But anyways,
Hmm. Okay. So if they use deception to get the workers even if it's like the enhanced paid sick leave and this and that, but it's actually a violation of the Paid Sick Leave Act. There isn't any repercussions. Uh, there isn't any enforcement of paid sick leave. What about other employers? If they were to violate the act, how are they punished or are they?
yeah. Well, big business and corporations, big agencies, they violate a lot of laws. And there's only so much ordinary people can do with the courts, especially when the courts have judges that are appointees, uh, lifetime terms. They are easily corrupted, and this is why we have to look to history. And what did ordinary people do to get justice to when there are unjust laws or laws being broken in favor of employers and greedy bosses and corporations? And it's things like civil disobedience, strikes, protests. Um, the Americans with Disability Act, it has a is a great lesson for all of us. And if it wasn't for American with Disability Act, we'd still have people with crutches and wheelchairs going up and down stairs and escalators. Um, it would be bad. But people literally had to sacrifice their time, their name. They had to go to jail, be dragged in the streets, arrested to get American with Disability Act passed. I mean, I think President Bush, maybe, or was it Clinton? I forgot. It was 1990. So I think that was Bush. Yeah. You know, yeah, he signed it, but if the people like you and me weren't out there on the streets saying, hey, we deserve to be treated like human beings, we deserve our human rights, Bush would have never signed anything, you know. So here in this case, you're saying, well, Eric, we have a law now. What are we doing about it? And I mean, if I was union president, I certainly would be able to put my head around more with the time that would be needed. And I think, yeah, litigation would be part of the fight. Um, but we need riders and workers, CTA workers and riders, to know what's going on and to organize mass action. I can't be too specific because they'll say, he's advocating for a wildcat strike. I'm I'm not. I'm just saying it's just the fact that this is what has happened in order for ordinary people to get justice. Does that answer your
Yes,
question?
yes.
Okay.
Uh, anyway, let's get back to that later. There was a question in my mind. It kind of disappeared right now.
Oh
Uh,
no.
for for the November 5th, I was on the train and then there was an incident in which they said that there was an irate CTA employee at Howard Station. And then later they said that I heard them talking on the radio that the employee got arrested and the trains couldn't move on. Do you know anything about that?
I don't. And yeah, I do recall us with a little exchange about that. I tell you, a whole lot of CTA employees are irate. uh, so they're gonna have to arrest all of us. But no, I'm sorry. And I will tell you this though, in all seriousness, a lot of CTA employees are uh, beyond the breaking point of tolerance for stress. I'm talking about I have been warning management for a couple of years now because a lot of CTA workers talk to me in confidence, and they tell me what's in their heart. Um, you remember? I don't know. It was in the mid '90s. There was incidents of U.S. postal office workers um, getting violent and shooting up.
Yes.
Like, yeah, yeah. They say going postal, you know. I've been warning management and the union presidents that we are right there. Um, when I get calls from workers that they're either when they're at their breaking point, they're either telling me they want to commit suicide or they want to kill the manager.
Mhm.
I'm just speaking straight up. This can go out for the world. You we can't keep taking the abuse. I'm not doing it, but I'm telling people what I hear. And of course, I don't say, yeah, 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 let's get him. You know, I gotta tell him, I understand how you feel. Do you think that's going to change anything? Did it you you kill yourself or you take out that manager? Do you think the problem is going to go away? You know, I don't want you to do that. I have to tell him, I don't want you to do that. Don't do that, okay? Let's talk about doing this and that and this and that. What do you say? You like that? And they say, yeah, I think I could try that. I said, good, you know. And then I have to check in with them and I tell them check in with me. And then usually over a couple days they've gone from here to here. But the irate employee, I don't know anything about that case, but it's not surprising to me when that type of thing happens.
Exactly. So that was probably swept under the rug. It was some incident that didn't make the news, and it
No.
didn't even appear on the CTA radar, neither on the customer side or the employee side. It just happened that we were on that train and heard it. So
Yeah.
uh, are there many other incidents that might have happened too that we do not know about?
Yeah.
How is it that they could hide things like that? Is it just the press not paying attention, or is it being hidden from the public?
The CTA mismanagement works very hard to cover up the defects in the way they operate. Um, and unfortunately, our union presidents help them in general. They just do. I mean, I just hate to say it, but it's their partners, and they call themselves partners. And you may have seen it on their publicity photos. You'll see them hugging a union president. They pose in pictures with them all the time. A union official, and I'm sure you've seen my memes of me holding a sign, CTA workers deserve paid sick days, and somebody puts me in these memes of them. But um, the press is only going to get what the union or the management tells them. So unless the media, the press, individuals, organizations such as yours, and unless you have a relationship with someone on the inside, you'll never know, you know. And not that I'm one of those sources, but unless someone says something, I guess. But I just there's the truth needs to get out.
And then the very next day, was there an employee? Someone died at that station, right? And November the 6th. What happened there? Do you know?
So one of our car servicers, I could be mixing up cases because so many die at work. One of our car servicers, brother Emmett, big tall brother, very kind. He died. Um, I don't remember if it was at work or right before work.
Mhm.
Um,
But
yeah,
at the
it's
station?
bad.
Yeah, it was at the station though, right? He was getting ready to work, or he was working.
I got no details.
That's okay.
And see, that's the thing. That's my department. What's so tragic, Trudy, is this is my department. These people elected me, and the management and the union presidents work so hard to keep me out of the loop because they know I'm going to talk about it.
Mhm.
They know it. I mean, as long as I have the time and the moment, the opportunity, I'm going to tell people about what's going on. Um, we had a worker that died at her. We had a number. We had another servicer that died a year and a half ago at work. We had a bus operator that died at work. We had a customer assistant died on the blue line in her kiosk, in there, these workers are dying from stuff that could be treated, prevented, sorry, easily. Um, but the CTA workers are working 6, sometimes 7 days a week um, to pay the bills because the deductions are so high from our paychecks and the insurance costs. And we're carrying a bigger share of the pension now. Um, so, yeah, it's pretty bad.
So the deductions and carrying their share of the pension, the union agreed to it so that it was in so that it could be in the contract.
So that regarding the pension, it's a little different because it's a state law.
Mm.
It's governed by state law. But as far as the insurance, yes, the health insurance is very high, and sometimes when you go to the doctor, this is so crazy. So when you go to the doctor for a checkup or an issue that you have, somehow the CTA management knows about it, and their lawyers will contact you and ask, "Oh, does this have to do with something at work?" So it's like I don't even want to go to the doctor now about issues because now they want to know what this is about. Why does my employer care? And my son, he doesn't work at the CTA, but he's on our insurance and he went for something. I don't know. That's a sprained ankle. I don't know. It was something, whatever. It had nothing to do with anything on the CTA, but the lawyers are sending letters to me. What is this about?
So if the son eh, he's already on the insurance, so he technically could is qualified to receive the
Yeah.
benefits, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And then there's no reason for them to ask about situation concerning it's the son's condition, but they
Yeah.
do it anyway. And why do they do it? Or is that the question for
I
them?
I need to find out why, but I'm thinking it's to harass us so that we don't use it in it because they have to pay. The CTA has to pay when we go to the doctor. Like we pay deductible and they pay. So you know it has saved money if they harass us because we'll be like, "Oh, okay, forget it. I ain't gonna bother."
Mm.
I mean, I'm overdue for my annual physical. My wife is too, and it's like it's sad. We just don't want to get tied up in it. It's so messed up.
So you know that once you go get your physical, then the CTA will come knocking and asking you all these questions.
Yeah, depending on, because once you do the physical, right, the doctor may say, okay, I'd like you to uh take this test, follow up with this test and that test, get an X-ray here, X-ray there, whatever. Yeah, it's just they just discourage us. It's abusive. And so that adds to the stress in the mind. And so you're gonna have irate employees that cause problems. I I hope it won't happen, but I kind of I I believe it's inevitable. We're gonna have someone with guns do something terrible.
And
And I don't think that's good. I don't even carry guns. I don't believe in using them, but um, I know lots of CTA workers that carry, and they do it for self-defense. But man, once you got that gun, who knows if someone sets you off, some manager comes harassing you, they're gonna get blown away. With some of the people the way they talk to some of us is really bad.
very demeaning.
Yes.
And they're overworked. A lot of the let's just because some of our listeners may not have heard our previous interviews. Let's just set one or two examples about the CTA abuses and toward employees.
Well, let's look at your frontline employees, right? They're more obvious. You see them, maintenance, we have our issues. But I'm trying for the listeners who ride the trains and buses, you see that person operating that train or that bus, I guarantee you that person is behind schedule. They're running late. And that's because, especially on the trains, there's only one person on that train, one crew member. And by the time you see them, they have already been delayed, whether it was some kind of defect with the door or something with brakes on the train, something with the motor, something with the announcements, maybe the dispatch center said, "Hey, go investigate your third car or your seventh car for a disturbance or a pink iPhone that a rider left." You know, workers on the right of way that have to stop the train in order to make sure the area is clear so nobody gets run over. Um, they are so stressed out and they have to do so many trips and they may have missed their lunch. And some,
Or they might need to go to the bathroom too.
oh, right, I forgot about that. Exactly. You know, and when you, especially when you have women operators and there's certain things that sometimes happen for women on a regular cycle, and they need to take that break. Now, they're going to stop the train to go to the restroom at some particular station, but that's going to be a delay. And they'll make the announcements and they'll do what they got to do and they'll go back up to the train. But there's going to be pressure on them to catch up. So when you catch up, what are you going to do? You're going to cut corners. You
And
know,
if they delay too much, are they written up?
yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. And me and my coworkers in maintenance who repair the trains, sometimes we don't even have the parts. Here, give you an example. We got some of those older trains. You might see them on they'll say the Orange Line. Orange Line is all old trains, the oldest trains, right?
And
We,
you know why the is it because it's not that popular a line and there would not be that much wear and tear on the Orange Line that they set all the old trains over there?
I don't know. I can't say. I don't know what goes through their little bird brains when they come up with this stuff, but maybe, but I don't know. They just don't have enough rail cars to make service, so they gotta use whatever they have wherever they put it for whatever reason.
Okay.
Um, but we have something called brake calipers, and these are little steel boxes that will move brake pads onto a disc that is spinning along with the wheels, and it will slow the train down and make it stop. So on these calipers is a rod, and connected, that rod is used to make the brakes apply pressure to slow down the train on the brake rotor. In this rod, on these particular trains, there's a little tiny screw with a washer and a bushing, another washer, and it screws in and it connects the rod so that it can engage the brakes. They don't give us the screws. There's no part number we can find easily. There's no free stock of screws. Like we use a certain type of lock nut on a whole lot of parts of the CTA trains. It's widely available. They make it available to us. But for this particular super safety sensitive part, fine, it's old, whatever. They don't provide that.
Oh,
We have what's called a propulsion system that that actually controls the train. It's like a transmission on a car or a truck. We have parts, little teeny tiny parts. There's no spare parts for them. We can't lose them. We can't break them when we're working on them. So we figure out ways to make it work, to make things work. We figure out ways. The mechanics at the CTA are like um, very creative people,
okay, so
right?
that part for the brakes, that screw, they don't give you the screws, then you have to figure out a way to
Yeah, yeah. We just gotta go dig around and somewhere and hopefully find it or make something work. This is your train that you ride on, and we have issues that we report that we need to resolve. And they say, well, okay, well, we can't afford it. We did this, we did that. We got these old computers, laptops with Windows XP on it, and we got to diagnose your red line rail car that won't move. Why won't it move? Why won't the engine? Why won't the motor operate? Why won't the propulsion system function? Why won't the suspension system function? So we have to plug it into a computer so that the laptop will talk to the train and the train will talk to the laptop. It could take an hour.
Hmm.
And one laptop don't work. All right, put that away. Let me go get another one. Because they don't give us laptops. We have to share these laptops. So there might be two of them or three of them in one rail shop. But it's a vital tool. But they don't give it to us. And when we say give us
How
one,
many would you need? They have two or three. How many would you say you need in order to do an effective job?
you need one for every mechanic.
And how many mechanics in a shop? About?
It depends. You could have 50,
Oh my God. So
20.
so two or three laptops being shared by 20
Yeah.
to 50 employees.
Yeah. And then the cable, remember now, your laptop does it ain't wireless technology at the CTA unless it's video surveillance. They love to watch us with surveillance. But you got to plug that laptop in. So that cable you have may not work. So you're sitting there as the mechanic, you're like, this computer don't work. Well, let me try the cable. Let me get another cable and another cable. Okay, these cables don't work. Let me try this other laptop. Maybe I'll put this other cable in here. And meanwhile, you need a train, but we don't have a train for you because we're still trying to figure out why it doesn't move.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's a lot of stress on the employees, and is that on a regular basis?
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm very surprised that the trains are still moving and that people are getting from point A to point B.
Hey, let me tell you, my coworkers are amazing people. The way they make these trains, especially these old trains, work. I've moved. I had to change work locations. I used to be at a shop with newer trains. Now I'm at the shop with the oldest trains, what I just described to you. And it's just, I feel like I'm starting all over because I'm working with people with stuff that I haven't worked on since training for 5 years. So I'm I just have to say they are amazing people and they're underpaid, they're undervalued, and they're not gonna keep taking this kind of abuse.
And
You
if
know?
they get sick, well, all the stress is very easy for them to get sick.
Yes,
They might get eventually fired because no
yes,
matter how good they are.
yes, yes. We're all on our way to termination at the CTA. The CTA makes it clear they want to replace you
Mm.
because it's cheaper. It's cheaper for them to just keep hiring people.
Mhm.
They love to hire people. They love to.
Because of the uh pension.
Yeah, pension, insurance too.
Mm.
Health insurance, life insurance,
And
the
how
benefits.
and how long does the employee have to work in order to get a pension?
You got to be there a year for it to start
Mm.
and to be vested where you get to keep a part of what the employee matches. You have to be there 11 years,
Mhm.
but you don't get the whole thing, especially if you're not at the right age. So older workers like myself will be able to retire. I don't have to put in 26 years uh, to get something of a pension. Uh, but the younger ones who come in at their 20s, um, they're going to have to do 45, almost 50 years at the CTA to get a full pension. I'm not going to get a full pension. Like after I get my 11 years, I got full time, I have like, I don't know, 5, 6 years, 6 years about. So once I get my 11, I know I'm out. I'm going to get a little something. But at least I'll have, I hope, my health and I could do other work, have my own business again, whatever. But those younger people, no, they're I'll be old enough to get something. They got to wait to hit the age and the time
So
because they got to be over 60.
mhm. So your contract when you got hired and was better than what the young workers are getting now.
No, no, I have the same restrictions, but it's my age. I have the benefit of an age.
Mm.
Like I'm an old geezer, you know, being the age that I am.
So you started later,
Yeah.
not as in the CTA.
Right, right. I already worked out in the world and ran my business for 18 years and it was time for a new career. As it is with all business, small business, you take risks and sometimes uh, you crap out. And that's what happened to me. So I needed a new career. I said, hey, customer service, rail transportation, I could do it. It'd be fun. And here I am.
What was the pitch that drew you to the CTA? Well, what did you see? Why the CTA?
Um, uh, well, rail transportation, I wanted to go into it, but the CTA would provide pension and union. I'd be union. I knew I wanted a union job. I didn't want some employer just to be able to fire me because he just felt like it. Uh, and I wanted a pension. So that's what really drew me to it. Um, yeah. And of course, they took me in. Of course, they hired me. And I think they regret that. But too bad.
Well, so the union management, they're still working for the CTA. They're like full-timers working for the CTA and being a union official as well.
Yeah. Yes. We do have what's called full-time officers in our unions, and they are on leave as per the contract from the CTA, but they are effectively CTA employees on leave. So they can show up on the CTA property as CTA employees, and they can be randomly tested for drug and alcohol use. And that once I figured that out, I figured out why a lot of them just don't show up at work to see us is because they're probably drunk or high. But um, what's also interesting is these full-time officers. they are paid only from our union dues,
Mm.
and they get a union salary, and it's often more than what the CTA pays them on their CTA job. But the CTA matches their pension. So they also contribute to the pension. So for every dollar, you could say that they contribute to the CTA pension as a full time union officer, the CTA contributes their portion as if they were still working there. So they are effectively still working for the CTA. And I think this is why a lot of them sell us out, is because they know that if they don't win re-election as a full-time officer, they have to go back to their CTA job. And so they want to have it easy when they go back. If they fight the managers, the management, for example, like myself, calling them out on their contract violations and their union busting. When they go back, they'll be like, "Hey, man, they're gonna give me a hard time," and I know that. Like, if I make president and I become full time, Trudy, I'll be on your show every week and everything, and because I'll have that time. But I know that my career at the CTA will be over because they will,
Retaliate.
yeah, and they will probably fire me,
Mm.
even though I'm still elected. I'm still, as per the contract, I can't be unelected, but I'm almost certain that I will not have a job to come back to, um, because they have done so much evil and wrongdoing to us and the riders, and
Then
I'm not going to be quiet about it.
and if they do not reinstate you, do you lose your pension then?
Um, I guess it would depend, right? It depend. I would, of course, put a grievance in, so I would be protected by that aspect, right? Um, so no, I think as long as I get that 11 years, I'm going to get something. That's all I care about,
Mhm.
you know.
So even if you get fired, you still get your pension. That's the main thing. You still get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I can if they like let's say they fired me now.
Mm.
I'm a part-time union official. I volunteer mostly, but I work full-time in the CTA. Let's say they fire me. Um, I'm not vested, so I can take that money that I put in to the pension, but I will not get a penny from what the CTA matched
Oh.
because I
Mhm.
don't have the 11 years.
Mhm.
But once I have the 11 years, then I can take some of that with me. Um, yeah.
Well, I was recently at a meeting that was not connected with the CTA, but they did mention that they noticed that crime was less on the red line. Is that true, or was that my friend just lucky?
Um, I have seen statistics about that, and there was nothing I saw in the statistics that seemed, uh, that seemed incorrect or false or misleading. I could believe it. I could believe it. The crime, in a sense, is kind of sensationalized. You only know about it if you hear about it, so that's not a really good measure. We do hear about stuff more. Um, And that's the nature of technology today, right? With everyone having a cell phone with a camera on it. So, I would say it's accurate, but I would say it's it could be deceiving. And what I mean by that is what it makes us start to think about, we want to look at numbers. We start thinking, we focus on numbers as opposed to conditions that create crime, that foster crime. So let's look at that young woman I forgot her name. He, it's this man threw gasoline on her
Mhm.
and burned
Yes.
her up.
Mhm.
Megan something.
Yes. Mhm. Yes.
Um, she's still alive, thank God. But she was isolated, basically on an empty rail car.
Mhm.
And when you look at the CTA red line and blue line and orange line, you have 8 cars all day, all night. They're running trains as if it's rush hour. Yeah, there's a bunch of people. Like, no, there's nobody on the train except a few people who might be going to work or coming back from work, living on the train, looking for victims on a train, looking for opportunities. And so you're inviting, it's a great way to rob somebody. It's a great way to kill somebody, hurt somebody that you feel like they're threatening you. I mean, because the man that did this to her is a schizophrenic diagnosed. That means he's hearing voices. He's hearing voices telling him to do stuff, and he can't control it. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, burn her up. She's a frog that's about to eat the city. Who knows? So right away, I must burn the woman. I have gasoline. I will burn everybody I meet. You know, and when the man was in court, he told the judge, he's like, maybe you shouldn't let me out. I mean, he tells people this. Don't let me out because I'm going to hurt people. Just give me food because otherwise I get very anxious. He's telling you he's going to kill people. He's going to hurt people. So you have empty rail cars with people on them who might be going to school or work. And one of these people walks on the train. Oh, look at that. And the voice tells them, kill that person, stab them, burn them up. So we have a terrible public health policy, but we fund these wars in prisons. We don't fund public health. So then what happens? These sick people go on our trains, terrorize the riders, terrorize the workers, and the trains are virtually empty. You could have 2 car or 4 car rail trains with 2-person crews. That way you have a worker with eyes. And the riders will naturally sit where the worker is. The riders who don't want any trouble. They will be where the worker is. And the worker can notify there's a man on here with a can of gasoline. Trudy, you have one operator in the head car. You have the fireman with his gasoline and this poor woman in, I don't know, the 5th car, the 3rd car, whatever it was. That operator is not thinking about anything going on there. They can't. This is stupid. And that's why I'll go back to the Christmas train, the holiday train, right? People love the holiday train. Why? Because there's CTA workers there to help them, to welcome them, direct them. So any issues are immediately taken care of.
And of course, the train operator with those single person operated cars, if there's a problem, I've seen the operator go through the doors to see what's going on. Somebody probably signal them from the button, the call button, right?
Yep. And a lot of times I'll tell you, we don't answer them calls. I'm just going to tell you straight up. Half of the calls are are people that are deranged playing with the button.
Mhm.
And they're just talking and screaming and cursing at us. And we got to wait and we can't see anything on the screen while the train's moving. The train has to stop. Then the screen shows and we can see what the cameras see.
Hmm. So
But
with
that's the new trains. That's the new trains. The old trains don't have a video that we can see.
that video for the new trains, do they actually see who is calling them? Are they able to see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Oh.
on the red line, the 5,000 series trains that we have on the red line, we can see it, but only when the train stops.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
can't see it while the train's moving.
Mhm. Well,
Not
that's
that you want to, but
uh, well, that's a start at least. But is there Is there enough money to go around to add those cameras to all the trains? That's probably a question for management. Of course, you don't know the budget, but
Well, all the trains have the cameras, but what you're asking is there a way to put monitor screens
mm,
that the operator can see on all the trains?
that would be best.
Yes.
Yeah, not only to see who's pressing the button, but to see the entire train. That would be the best. He doesn't have
But
to see everything at the same time, but at least he could press a button and see what's different cars too.
well, doesn't quite work like that,
Mm,
unfortunately. Um, if I'm operating run 836 on the red line
mm,
and you hit the button, I stop the train. I can see you hitting the button. You say, "Hey, there's somebody getting robbed, or there's someone smoking, or there's someone setting a fire here." You know, I'll see that, but I can't go and activate the other cameras.
mm.
You understand? I can't.
I see. Okay.
The only the management can do that with the video download.
Mm,
And they don't really use the technology to tap into the train and look. I don't know why. They probably lost the manual, didn't want to pay the guy that set it up. Who knows? but but we can't see it unless you keep pressing that button.
mm,
And so here's something outrageous that you love. So you were saying, why don't they put these monitor screens on the old trains so they have it too? Well, they're too busy buying and paying for video surveillance on the trains that already have those screens.
mm,
$30 million to Railhead Corporation
mm.
to set up video on the 5000 series trains that already have the video. There's nothing wrong with the video, really. There's not. But whatever.
But
So on the
the
old trains, you have to. The only way to get the video is to actually bring a laptop to the rail car and plug it in and download it. And then you got to bring it to the office, and the manager looks at it and he sees the person being stabbed. Days later.
mm, um,
I guarantee you that poor woman that was set on fire, all that video, that was looked at hours and hours after it happened. It was not like, oh, what? Let's see something disturbance going on in this rail car. Turn on this camera, that camera. No, no. The cameras aren't doing anything for crime, frankly. The cameras are just good for watching the employees and writing them up.
mm. And they do use it too.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Well,
And it's supposed to be for terrorism, by the way. The cameras on the platforms and on CTA property, it's for terrorism. So somebody might get hurt and they want to say, hey, there's a patch of ice that the CTA didn't take care of because of a leaky pipe. There's no video. Well, why? It's for terrorism. We can't just give it to you because you want to sue us. Oh, really? But you use it to surveil the employees. They're not terrorists, are they?
so are they just justifying it by not releasing the video to the public or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
And
and
they'll release stuff to the public when they want to show. Yeah, look at that CTA worker. He was picking his nose and he ran over someone with his bus. They'll release that. And then people be like, oh, damn CTA workers, they're lazy.
and what about FOIAs? FOIAs don't always work too.
FOIAs are tricky. I've been doing lots of FOIAs, and if you want to get information from the CTA, a FOIA is a great way to do it, but it takes work. You gotta use the right language. It takes work. It takes practice. I'm getting a little better at it the more I do them.
Mhm.
But I would recommend that if anyone needs video surveillance of an incident on CTA property, do the FOIA, the CTA FOIA. Try to do it. And if they try to find a way, just keep it. They may deny you the first time. Try it again with a different way. Change the language.
So when you request when you FOIA something, you're trying to probably help an employee, right? You're the union steward, and then
Yeah.
you want that footage to prove that the CTA employee was telling you the truth.
Um, but I personally have not used FOIA for video.
Hmm.
I've only used it for documents.
Okay,
Yeah. Um, Emails, stuff like that. But
got
yeah, it actually, the CTA by law, by labor law, is supposed to cooperate with the union. So anytime a union official says, I want to see, you're saying this operator was not paying attention when they had an accident. Well, we want to see that video. They have to provide. They have to provide it. It's a request for information. You have to provide it. We want to see their work record. Provide it. They still fight me on certain things, by the way, like that,
it.
which is illegal. Um,
But there's no enforcement, even though it's illegal.
Unfortunately, no, there's not a lot of enforcement of it. It's just, yeah.
Well, Eric Basir, thank you for taking on this uphill task of protecting CTA employees. If our listeners or other CTA employees want to learn more about you or ask you questions, where should they go?
Uh, I'd send them to my website, ericbasir308.blogspot.com, and that's ERICBASIR 308.blogspot.com. Sorry, it's kind of complicated, but that's what I've got for now.
Eric Basir, Union Steward of Local 308 of the Amalgamated Transit Union. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your work.
Hey, thanks again for supporting CTA workers and being concerned about us.
Of course, we love the CTA. We need it. The city needs it. And then hopefully it will be better in the future. Fingers crossed.
Yes.